What letter is that? Woohoo! Clever clubs! Your child stares at a stop sign, and then it happens. They point up and say to you, that's the S sound. It's not just a coincidence. That's the alphabetic code being cracked. Hi, I'm Jane, and welcome back to Dynamic Learning, the channel made by parents for parents. This is episode 4 of our series of blending and phonics for parents of children aged 4 to 5. Last time, we looked at oral blending, hearing sounds in speech and joining them together before any letters are involved. Today, we're building directly on that with Stepping Stone 3, Letters Meet Sounds. This is the step where your child begins to learn where written letters and spoken sounds are connected. Let's dive straight in. So what are we actually talking about here? The technical term is the grapheme-phoneme correspondence. In simple English, this is the relationship between written letters and the sounds that they represent on the page. A grapheme is the written letter or a group of letters. A phoneme is the spoken sound, and a letter sound is the link that bridges the two of them together. And here's why all that matters. All writing is a kind of code for spoken language. Learning to read means cracking the code on how this works. Explicitly learning these letter-sound links gives children the specific tool they need to look at a word, say each sound, and start to push these sounds together, rather than having to guess from pictures or memorize whole word shapes. That is the foundation that this step is being built on. Actually, before we go any further, let me know in the comments if your child has a favourite letter or a favourite sound right now. I love to hear your child's favourite sounds and what they're connecting with the most right now. Let's get back to it. You might already be seeing this step play out without even realising it. Here's what this step can look like. Curiosity about print. Stopping to look at letters on street signs, food packets, or the front of a book and asking what they are. Linking a specific sound to a specific shape, knowing that the S shape makes a hissing sound, S, for example, and saying it when they spot it. Tracing letters in the air, in sand, or with a paintbrush, often while making the sound at the same time. That combination of movement and sound is a very meaningful sign. Writing in play, jotting down a sign for their pretend shop, or leaving a note, or leaving a little scribble. The letters might not even be formed correctly yet or at all, but the intention to use print as a tool is there. If you're seeing any of these moments, then your child is already stepping into this territory. And the games I'm about to show you are going to help you help them get there in a fun way. Because remember, learning works best when it's fun. So why does this step matter? Think back to oral blending, what we looked at last time. Your child practiced listening to sounds and joining them together. This step adds the visual anchor. Now they have a symbol for each sound, a consistent written code. That means when they eventually look at a word on a page, they have a system for working it out. They're not guessing, they're decoding. And the same skill runs in both directions. Once children know the letter-sound link, they can reverse it to start spelling, listening to a word, breaking it into sounds, and writing the matching letters. That's what makes this step such a turning point. So here are a few games that you can play at home with your child. They don't require any setup or buying any expensive equipment, and they slot right into your daily routines, whenever and wherever you can fit them in. So let's dive into the games. Sand writing. Use a stick or a finger to trace simple letters in a sand pit, mud, or even a tray of dry rice at home. What letter is that? Woohoo! Clever clubs! The combination of tracing and saying the sound together is the key move here. Children who trace letters in sand or in the air while saying the sound are doing exactly what this step is about. The next game is Play-Doh shapes. Roll the Play-Doh into long sausages and bend it into the shape of a letter together. As you build it, you say the sound of the letter, not the name, the sound. This would look something like,
can you change it into a S? Yeah. Yes. Scoop that bit. That's a very good S. You see how it's scooped?
You can also apply this to book time. So, for your next story, as you sit and read together, trace a letter on the page with your finger and say its sound. You don't need to stop the story. One letter, one sound, and keep on going.
Do you want to try tracing the F? Wow, well done.
Or, before you turn a page, say,
I can see a H. Where's the H? Yes. Can you see a H somewhere here? Oopsies. Yeah, well done. You've got a good eye.
keep it light even if they don't find it. Point it out yourself and move on. The looking matters more than the finding. There are two patterns worth mentioning right now because they're both quite common and they do come from places of genuinely good intentions. The first pattern that emerges is adding an sound to consonants, saying s instead of s or m instead of m. Instead, try saying the sound as a pure stretched sound, no at the end. This matters more than you might think, because when children eventually try to blend sounds together, the gets in the way. So instead of saying s, a, t, they would end up saying s, a, t. You see, it doesn't blend quite well. Another thing that can happen is drilling the visual shape of the whole words on flashcards, expecting children to memorize them by sight before learning the letter sound links. Instead, try teaching the relationship between the letter and its sound first. That link is a code, and once a child has the code, it unlocks thousands of words, not just the ones on the cards. If you do try any of these games this week, let me know in the comments which one your child enjoyed the most. Everything that we've looked at today already lives in your daily routine, in your little habits, in your car journeys, your walks to the shops, dog walks, snack time, bath time. They don't require a lesson or let's sit down and learn at the table. Next up is episode 5, Blending on the Page. That's where we take the letter sound links that your child is building right now and we use them to decode small written words. This is where reading becomes real. Remember, if any of this was useful to you, consider sharing it with another parent. That's the best way to help this channel grow. I look forward to seeing you all in the next episode. Bye-bye.